Good evening and welcome to the 2011 NBA Draft. Tonight is the culmination of the efforts for some of the world's most talented young players. It is a time for their dreams to be realized and to be welcomed to the elite group of players that are called NBA players. We thank all of you for joining us on this exciting night.
Yo guys, this is Jerrod, aka the SAINTofSINS on Xbox Live, bringing you back into the nightmare that was NBA 2K12 as we venture forth on the road to Springfield for the defensive point guard from Colorado State, St. Jerrod. I know what a lot of you must be thinking. Well, the ones of you still watching the video. You other jerk-offs saw NBA 2K12 in the title after you already hit the play button and then scampered off in search of quality porn on X-Hamster. Those of you who stuck around to continue watching are totally thinking, fuck is this shit? Where's Donny? Why are you playing an old bad basketball game? The answers to all of your questions lie within this simple answer. Shut up. I'm a grown man. I do what I want. I make this shit look good. At this point, are you shocked I don't follow the conventional grain of YouTube standards? I had a lot of fun with this game, despite how inferior I felt it was stacked up against 2K11 at the time. And I was really inspired to do some interesting things with the footage I collected towards the end of its lifespan. Just out of the gate you can already see this isn't going to be a carbon clone of the Donny Basket's Road to Springfield series because I'm presenting the Rookie Showcase. You know, that event that's normally just filler footage for a lot of other 2K commentators to build suspense for their draft entry. Here, I'm legitimately fighting for a lottery draft spot. It came natural for Donny to find a way up in the draft, but here, Saint's got some struggles to overcome. Dude is a defensive-minded pass-first point guard who may not look too appealing for a team in need of the more modern-day point guard who takes up a large bulk of the scoring responsibilities. If anything, you could say Saint is a cross between Gary Payton and John Stockton. In fact, Saint's goal throughout his career will be to eclipse Stockton as the all-time assist leader. If he gets some rings along the way, it'll just be the cherry on top. After all, he's not looking to become the best all-around player the game has ever seen. He's not trying to be Jordan, Kobe, or LeBron. He's more like, what's a poor man's Jason Kidd? Jose Calderon? Maybe more like a poor man's Jose Calderon. Goran Dragic, perhaps? I mean, defensively you love this kid, but offensively, he just blocked himself on a layup attempt. You're almost dreading any team taking an interest in him. Hell, if you're a fan of any of the lottery teams looking at this rookie showcase, you're shitting yourself over the possibility that they sink a pick on the 6'even Vlade Divac who's shooting 0% from the floor. Again, the only thing you like about this kid is his defense and hustle to keep in front of his man. But you don't want him at such a high pick when he's looking more and more like a second round kind of guy. And all around him are a bunch of hungry guys looking to increase their stock, which are already higher by default. The only thing to keep Jerrod in the draft talks is his defensive ability to sink the other guys. He's playing tight, almost predicting his opponent's movements, and then suffocating them to force any kind of error that he can. Saint is just focused on the ball more so than on his man. He's trying to just follow its actions and movements to prevent his opponent from manipulating his movements. Saint isn't trying to get crossed up out there. He's trying to play smart, tight defense. You know, that other thing you can do on the court without the ball in your hands? Anyway, Saint continues to get his teammates involved, moving the ball around on offense pretty effectively. The problem is that neither team seems to have any clue on how to be more effective at scoring. We're almost down to our last 3 minutes of the half and the scores are... I don't think you could even get scores these low from Pee Wee Basketball League games, let alone from young college basketball stars vying for a higher stock in the NBA draft. Where's the fight? Is it all just great defensive showings from everyone participating in this event? Are people's nerves being so densely rattled that everyone's underperforming in their attempt to try and shine in the brighter and hotter spotlight? Or is everyone in this draft class an incompetent boob incapable of showcasing the strength and depth this class should be demonstrating? Place your bets now and see what prize you win! We're slowly rolling into the half, and despite some questionable play from both teams, this is a tightly contested low-scoring matchup. Saint shooting 20% from the field with 4 assists, but he's going to be looking more to get some rebounds whenever he can, continue to put the screws to Brandon Knight on defense, move the ball effectively while also trying to get his teammates the best possible shot they can get off, and try and be more effective at scoring than he's already demonstrated. So long as he doesn't try to hit any more top of the key post move faders, maybe he'll actually look more impressive? Ah, who am I kidding? The man blocked himself on a layup attempt! No one's forgetting that anytime soon. I can already hear the roar of the crowd. Just retire. Just retire. Despite some good looks for the mid-range, Saint just can't sink them. But he always plays hard, pressing his man up the court and trying to prevent any big breaks to the basket. I know I've said this a few times, but it bears repeating. Defense is his strength. It's what he's best at, and this game has highlighted just how effective he is at cutting off his man, keeping the ball in front of him, and forcing his matchup to defer rather than try and step up to become the scoring option. It's just a shame he's got no reliable shot of his own. If he could score more effectively, he might just be a better pick for the lottery. At the rate he's going, he'll be lucky to see his name included in the first round of any mock draft. He simply needs to convert more shot attempts. But then again, the rest of the floor can't even pick up the slack to make Saint look like the odd man out. I mean, look at this score! Why is it that neither team has stepped up or pushed the pace? Why are these teams really fighting to get out of the early 30s in the third quarter? I'm fine with this being a tightly contested matchup, but for the score to be this low, what are the teams doing? I mean, we know Saint isn't doing jack squat scoring-wise, but what are Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Joe Patterson, and Enes Kanter doing out there? Where is this offensive contribution? Again, they should be blowing up right now. It shouldn't even be this close in terms of how appealing a draft pick Saint is over any of the starters on this floor. I mean, yeah, he's hurting Brandon Knight's stock because of his lockdown defense, but that's all Saint has effectively done this game. Shut down his man. That's what you expect from him, considering you know he's a defensive point guard. But what's the explanation for the rest of the stars out there just shitting the bed? This is just so crazy to see. It's like no one came out to play tonight because they're all complacent with their placement on the mock drafts. The only one fighting out there is Jerrod, and he's only demonstrating that offensively. You don't want him jacking up a single shot. Well, there is the other plus. He protects the ball fairly well. Okay, yeah, he turned it over back in the first trying to find Klay Thompson in traffic. That was just an errant pass. But he erased that turnover by stopping the 2-on-1 fast break by forcing a bad pass he was able to scoop up. The two kind of cancel each other out, really. And that's quietly another plus in Saint's favor. Huh. Maybe I'm completely underestimating his value here. Let's see. Solid defense, strong ball distribution, can find his men open shots, protects the ball very well. Just can't hit a jumper consistently to save his life. When you take into account the positives and stack them up against the negatives, geez, maybe he has enough to be a lottery pick after all. But then, what teams would be looking his direction? I mean, he's not going before Kyrie Irving or Brandon Knight, despite how locked down he's been on him all night long. Do you take him over Jimmer Fredette? Maybe. I guess it'll just boil down to what teams are weak at the position and could use some depth. Maybe the Raptors look his way. You know the Suns are going to be building around a new future, so there might be an interview. Would the Hawks be in need of an extra point guard they can use for the 6-man role? The more I think about it, the bigger the market for St. Jerrod becomes. Wow, I really underestimated his worth in this draft. Maybe the score really is reflecting how poor this draft class is. Okay, so with a little over a minute left on the clock, the Elites have a slim 2-point lead over the Stars. It's really going to come down to the wire here as the Elites have a chance to burn some clock and make this a 2-possession game. They'll settle for an ugly chuck from Patterson, however, but a foul by Jerrod stops the clock and gives the Stars a chance to knot this game up and return the ball with little time left in the game. Some help defense by Saint allows Knight to get open at the top of the key, but his shot is off! And there isn't much time left to try and win this one through the fouling game. The Elite slip out of here with a tight victory, but the real story is, of course, who the hell is drafting Jerrod?
Nice job out there tonight. Your play really impressed us. So much so that we're considering using our pick on you if you're available when our turn comes up. Before we get that far, we'd really like to ask you a couple of questions. Question number 1. As a point guard, we really feel like we can offer you something amazing, something no other team in the NBA can offer. With Steve Nash's career winding down, you have the chance to play behind and learn from one of the greatest point guards to ever put on a uniform. Once Steve decided to hang it up and you've learned everything you can from him, the starting point guard spot is yours. How can you say no to that?
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm the Director of Player Personnel for the Utah Jazz. My scouts have expressed a lot of interest in you. Before I can give my blessing to use our draft pick on you, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, to make sure you fit in with what we do here. I really think the first piece to getting this franchise back on track is to find and develop our point guard of the future. The point is the one position that can really make or break a team and change the overall direction of the franchise. Looking back at the Hornets, look at what Chris Paul did for that team. We want a point guard who will do the same for us, and we think you might be that guy. Convince us of that.
Greetings, I'm the GM and Director of Player Personnel for the Rockets. In addition to the 14th pick, we also have the 23rd pick in the upcoming draft, and are looking at you with one of those picks. We'd like to get to know you better by asking you a couple of questions. Let's get to it. As a younger team, I feel like we have a lot of opportunities for you. I'm here to tell you you have a chance to be our franchise centerpiece if you put in the work. How many other teams can offer you that? That being said, we still have a couple years ahead of us where we're going to be acquiring young talent and assets. We might struggle a bit in those years. Are you going to be able to remain focused during the rebuilding years?